Good morning, good morning. How are you today? Tuesday morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Got some movement in the markets. Just taking a look at the euro perking up here off of that area of demand. This is a move that we were expecting to see with institutional demand in play. This is the movement that we were anticipating, a move upwards. We've done some analysis on some of the higher levels. Level 3 session on Friday, where we went deep into the markets to take a look at what was taking place, and we concluded there's a very good, very high probability that we see a move up here on the euro. So that's what we're getting now, which is nice to see, a little perk up. You can see that on the 4-hour chart. We had the descending trend line here, and as price was moving along the trend line, okay, hugging the trend line, then we got this little spike here, a little freak spike. That was like a false breakout, okay, because right after the big rally, push it right back down to keep it under the trend line. And now look what's happening. Okay? Look what's happening. So we have this trend line here that is playing a very significant role in what is taking place on this 4-hour chart. That's one thing that you should really recognize. This trend line is playing a very significant role in what's happening here on this 4-hour chart. And so the banks will definitely take notice of this trend line, and they'll definitely know that when price comes up to the trend line, retail traders will be inclined to short the euro. Why would they do that? Because what do all the textbooks teach you about trend lines, about testing trend lines? What do they all say? You know, when price hits a trend line, to short it if it's a descending trend line, right? And the more times price bounces at that trend line, the stronger it is. Not what they say. So after several tests of that trend line, what do you think they're doing here? They're shorting, because they believe it's going to drop just like it has dropped every other time. Okay? Now you see what happened here with that false breakout. Okay, it went the other way, and I bet you when price was up here, they got retail traders to start buying short term, only for them to push it back under. Okay, so what's happening now is that with this very significant break of this trend line, the banks are filling in demand. Okay, this is demand down here. They're filling in buying orders down here. That's what the banks are doing. And that is why it broke to the upside and remained at the upside, only for it to return where? Back to the same price area where they were buying before. And so what happened when price got back to this area? They're filling in buying orders. How do we know that? Well, take a look at the big green candle that's being formed, right? That's institutional buying. Okay? That's your big banks coming in and buying. And with that, there is nothing to stop price from doing that for the rest of the week. There's nothing to stop it. Could it sit here a little bit longer and go down? Yeah, sure it could. Sure it could. There's nothing to stop it from doing that as well. But it's not likely what is going to happen. What is likely going to happen is over time we're going to see price rally up like that. All right. So with that being said, good morning, good morning. Why don't we hit the like button? That'd be nice to start off the morning. Like button for me. Morning. Nice to see you guys here. Nice to see you guys here. So there's a potential trading opportunity right there for you. Euro US dollar long. Now you'd have to have your stop losses below here, below the latest price action here. That's where your stop loss would have to be. Because if indeed what is taking place is the banks are taking advantage of this momentum to the downside in order to lure retail traders into getting into the wrong trade so they can reverse it, if that is indeed what is taking place, and I think there's a very, very high odds that that is indeed what is taking place, then price will go up, and it should not go lower than this area here. Okay? That's what should happen. Price should continue higher and not go below the previous lows here. Okay? Nothing's guaranteed, but that's the high odds. All right? So that is what I am seeing with the euro. Very, very, very probable that that is what takes place. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. That's the 4-hour chart. Otherwise, you've got the weekly chart with weekly demand in play. There's no reason why this wouldn't rally up. How's gold doing? Gold's just sitting somewhat sideways, isn't it? It's really not doing much. We've been waiting for this to pick up speed and continue higher, but it's just stalling and sitting sideways. But that's okay. It can take its time. It's not in any rush. We're talking about moves taking place on weekly charts, right? Each candle is a week. So if you look at this candle, that's consolidation. That's 5 days. You got to wait for that sucker. 5.5. That's another 5.5. This is another 5.5. Could potentially just sit sideways. Why not? It could do that. I mean, look how many candles here. Price did nothing but chill out sideways. That's a whole month. So we got to be patient. That's why I always say when it comes to the markets, you have to understand what time frame is the one that's in play. All right? What time frame is the one the banks are focusing on? Because if you decide to focus on the 1-hour chart when the banks are not focused on the 1-hour chart, you're going to be in trouble. That's why traders lose, because they have absolutely no idea what time frame they should be focused on. If the banks are focusing on doing something on a weekly time frame, you better be focused on that same time frame. Because then what's going to happen is you're going to be focused on, let's say, 4-hour time frame, and you're going to be busy looking for 4-hour time frame entries, and whatever signal you think you're seeing is not going to be correct, because they're not pushing price with momentum on that time frame. There could be momentum, but it's going to be very random what's going to happen on that chart, because it's only going to be used to facilitate what's happening on the higher time frame. And so if what's happening on a higher time frame is just consolidation, then that means a little bit of up, a little bit of down, a little bit of up, a little bit of down on the lower time frames. How are you going to forecast and take advantage of those moves when it's random? The ups and downs are random. This is not something that you can forecast. So that's why it's so important to understand what time frame to be focused on. So when I'm looking at gold, the only time frame I would be focused on is the weekly time. Because I know that what is taking place right now, the main focus is on the time frame. Now, could we get a rally up in price on the daily chart? Yeah, we could. But just remember, we've got supply up here, and we've got demand down here. And where's current price? In the middle of the ocean. Far away from the dock on the south and far away from the dock on the north. So, can you perfectly determine where price is going to go from here? No. Nobody can. And if somebody says they can, I'm sorry. They're just getting lucky. That's the bottom line. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. Okay? They're just lucky. Because if you don't know what is to be expected from the higher time frames, if you don't know what the bank's plan is, and what they're doing with price, then how would you know what direction price is going to go in immediately at this moment? Okay, you can guess that because 4-hour demand is in play, that price is going to rally, and you might be right, but there's really nothing to stop price from dropping or rallying. Rallying from here would probably be 60% chance. Dropping is 40% chance. So 60% chance what I would like to trade off of? No, thank you. Not good odds for me. So I will pass on that. Oil. Everything's looking good for oil. We went into in detail with this in the EURUSD report. Trends are up. Things are looking good for the weekly chart. Still holding the trend. We just removed massive supply on the monthly chart. So in terms of supply and demand, demand is definitely the one that's in charge with oil. Okay, demand is definitely the one that's in charge with oil. But it just comes down to, are they going to use this demand right now to push up price, or are they going to let price reverse and come down a little bit further before they kick in with more demand? That's the tough question. So we don't know exactly how it's going to play out in the next week or two. But over the long term, we definitely see targets a lot higher on oil. And we are looking to take advantage of this momentum that should be kicking sometime soon. So we're going to wait for the chart signal to present itself. It hasn't done so yet, so we'll continue to wait patiently. Let's take a look at the dollar. So look at that weakness. Beautiful. Look at that weakness with the dollar. That's gorgeous. This is what we were expecting off of that area of supply. We were talking about this for the last couple weeks. More than a couple weeks, actually, since price was here. You remember when price was coming up here? Well, when price was down here, what did we say? It was going to go up. When price came up here and it stalled, what did we say? We said it's going to continue upwards until it contacts supply. And then what did we say when it contacts the supply? We expect it to drop. I thought predicting market reversals was impossible. We did it here. We did it here when it reversed up, and we're doing it now. Okay? But I thought that was impossible to do. So now we see that supply coming into play that we were talking about. On the 4-hour chart, we're getting that momentum to shift to the downside. We had an upward trend. And I'm very sure that retail traders were examining this trend line and thinking that it would be a great opportunity to buy here. And for a small period of time, it worked. Came down, they bought again. Oops, nope, not working this time. Yeah, and now the banks are pushing it down. And when we examine the daily chart, supply is in play, and our demand is here. And there is nothing to stop price from doing that. Okay? Because there's nothing here. There's no institutional demand to stop price from dropping. This is how the markets work. Okay? This is how we can predict the movements in the markets, is by understanding the areas of supply and demand that the banks are using to fill in orders, and understanding the sequences that come into play. When demand gets contacted, what time frame is it contacting, and what is expected now that that area has been contacted on that time frame. So when you put all those pieces together, this is what the end result is an understanding of what should take place on the charts. And so now we are seeing that weakness. Okay? How's US dollar Japanese yen? Dropping. Okay, not surprised, right? Remember we were talking about how the monthly chart has supply in play? Okay, and what we expect is a move to the downside with the supply in play. So we had two tests of this area. 1, 2. Can easily drop from here. Okay? So those two tests, it was just, price was just waiting for that supply on the daily, on the dollar chart to get into contact. That's what was taking place. It was just waiting to get into contact. And so now it's in contact, and so now the weakness kicks in. US dollar Japanese yen fell short. US dollar is hitting supply, so nothing's going to stop this from dropping. And US CAD hit that area that we were talking about, the imbalance here, spike through. This is something that we spoke about too on the level 3 session, about themes that take place in the market. Usually each week something very specific is taking place in the market, and what's really important is to be able to spot what that key thing is. And because if it happens throughout multiple markets, if it happens throughout multiple charts, then you know that was the key theme that was in play for that week. And so if the key theme, then you could be rest assured that there's going to be the majority of charts with profit taking that's taking place. And so if you know profit taking is taking place, it's not usually the best time to be trading. We want to get involved when there's accumulation. So when we spot the theme of accumulation taking place across the charts, that's when we like to start getting involved. So continued weakness in the dollar. Dollar's at 92.45. Continued strength on the euro. Euro's at 118.24. That's what I'm seeing. Anything else is stalling out? Pound should drop too. Let's take a look at pound. We're getting some strength in the pound right there. You see the euro? What's the euro doing? Oh, sorry. Did I say? Yeah, I said strength, right? Yeah. It's perking up. Pound should be perking up as well with the euro, alongside the euro. So that's good. We are seeing that. Yeah, there we go. And it's just as I was mentioning, I said there's nothing specific on the pound chart that's going to dictate any movement. It's only going to be moving alongside the other markets. Euro gets strong, pound will get strong. Euro gets weak, pound will get weak. That's it. So now we're seeing that strength kicking in here. Okay. And let's take a look at one more Aussie. I'll let you guys go. Aussie, a little bit of strength, but you see how it's not nearly showing the same amount of strength as the euro. Okay. Look at all this, you know, price isn't up here like what we would expect based on what we're looking at the euro. It's not at those highs. Okay. So it's lagging, which means that throughout the week it could pick up. So after the euro moves and stalls, we can see this one pick up. So it's likely the banks are focusing right now on other markets like the euro, pound, dollar. Okay, they're focusing on those markets. And then when they switch their focus on the Aussie, then it will pick up and start to rally. Okay, because we do have demand in play here. All right. So that's the gist of what is taking place. I gave you some good ideas to work with. Take it upon yourself, if you will, to use this information for your benefit. But we will reconvene to take a look at what ended up taking place today on Friday. If you guys haven't joined us on Fridays, it's we do the market wrap up, where we basically take a look at what we were examining and forecasting early on in the week, like today, and then we look at how accurate our analysis has been. And if you've looked through our playlists, I would encourage you to do that. Look through our playlists and see the videos that we posted. Go through the Forex market wrap-ups to see how accurate our analysis has been. It's been quite incredible. All right, so if you guys have any other questions regarding the markets or anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, we'll look at other pairs later on in the week. Okay, I just want to go through these majors with you and point out what I was seeing and give you a little bit of a heads up for the rest of the week on what we could be potentially seeing in terms of price action for the next few days. Okay, so that's it. Enjoy your day. Thanks for joining me again, and you guys.